Tu as été choisi.
Truth Seekers. So there's this fascinating video called Ghost in the Machine that was uploaded May 2nd. It currently has 269,000 views. It's the first video for this channel called the 4th PSYOP Group. It appears subsequently it was uploaded to another website. The website is Go Army SOF. It appears been put up 2 days ago. It looks like they have a Twitter page that was started 2015. Official Twitter page of the Special Operations Recruiting Battalion. You get a location of Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and a web link, goarmysof.com. So an insider who will go unnamed has provided me additional insight into the true meaning of this video. From what I've been able to gather, this source is very familiar with PSYOPs and has been in the know probably for as long as I've been alive. Permission to discuss a topic you're going to hear is significant because this past week I did my own video brief analysis of that video, specifically covering the topic of Mandela effects. So in essence, this source is endorsing that we are in a somewhat fantastical type of reality where the battlefield for control of human civilization has extended to the control of time itself. Fifth generation warfare is warfare that's conducted primarily through non-kinetic military action, such as social engineering, misinformation, cyber attacks, along with emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence and fully autonomous systems. I propose that there be a generation of warfare that's considered beyond the fifth generation. Much of what we see today is fifth generation, but I propose we are in the sixth generation of warfare. The generation that involves technology the vast majority would not believe exists, purposed to stop very large consolidated powers. The conclusion I've come to is that the future is not determined anymore by the democratic process in government, but by the proper utilization of information and the attendant technologies that come with superior information. So now I'll lay out for you some observations that I admit are not my own, but I was given permission to share. So here we're on the scene of a subway station. This is about 2 minutes and 40 seconds into the video. Scroll forward a few seconds, you see the Statue of Liberty. This is the important portion of the video where the clown is being transitioned into a ghost. So we'll go there. You see this clown there. It's symbolic imagery. So you notice that glitch right after We Are Everywhere appeared and it went to the subway scene. There's like a little glitch. You see it already, that effect there. So that's symbolic of that general sense of glitch in the matrix, like reality is a simulation, that type of feeling. Although symbolic interpretations could include two superimposed realities, two adjacent timelines, or recordable energy from a localized timeline distortion due to technology. So I'm told that this particular emphasis on New York is important to the concept of the video. So at about 2 minutes 58 seconds into this video, you get a phrase, a message to the stars, and we'll play right after that. So then you see this dial being turned. It has the numbers 268 obvious on it. 4 is partially obscured there. So I'm told there is a certain symbolism that you can pick up looking at these numbers in the context of this text, a message in the stars. So 28 is to be considered a reference for Virgo, because when Virgo is entered to determine its numerical value in gematria, the reverse full reduction yields 28. This is also an encoded address to a specific location. The location is in New York. It is 268 Avenue of the Stars. We'll zoom in on that location. At 268 could also be considered a date, the 26th of August. So now I'm going to walk you through a process. In overview, I'll tell you that this video, per my source, is to be used to geolocate specific areas. For all this to make sense, there are going to be two big asks here. So the big ask is consideration of the possibility that significant public newsworthy events could be inserted into our timeline retroactively. A news story of a shooting in Brooklyn was mentioned by this source, but not specifically as an insert. A month ago on Sunday, April 10th, there was a manhole explosion in Times Square. We'll play a clip from that.
Last night, a loud boom caused by a manhole explosion set off a panic for thousands of people gathered in the popular tourist area.
Go, what is it? What is it?
You saw the video right there, dozens of people running away from the scene, not knowing what had happened. Thankfully, no one was hurt. Energy provider Con Edison says a cable failure was to blame for that explosion.
So I'll return to this. The second big ask is to consider that appropriately cleared members of the military are going out into the woods or whichever urban area as required to set up investigation instruments intended to measure distortions in the time-space fabric. So with that foundation, I'll go ahead and lay out the significant details. So the claim is that there was a timeline distortion, presumably caused by an enemy. In this video, the Ghost in the Machine was specifically set up to guide the appropriate personnel in the know to the correct location in order to appropriately measure effects as a part of investigation. So here are a set of clues to note. You have the German word Stadtmitte, which translates to town square. You have this clock showing the time approximately 6:46. This time is to be interpreted as an area code 646, the area code for Manhattan. At 2 minutes 18 seconds in the video, you have a picture of a clock with the word influence superimposed. This is taken to mean influence time. The time in that clock is 6:44. I was sent a tweet by an individual, same source, which corroborates that the Times Square explosion occurred around 6:50 in the afternoon. Okay, so the individual who sourced me this info claims to have became aware of this video when it was uploaded May the 2nd, communicated with his team regarding what to do concerning the clues that are in the video. Now, one of the big asks concerning the nature of the military comes into play here. This video exists in paradox, my layman term. The source's team became aware of the video, but the original uploaders couldn't be sourced, as it's understood they live in a variant adjacent timeline. We'll potentially return to this in another video. Alright, so we have our Virgo association. This is our constellation of Virgo. This is a still of 268 Ave of the stars. This is an entry for a specific star in the constellation of Virgo called Delta Virginis. So in my mind, there are some unknowns about uploading a video mentioning any specifics on this individual. There were certain quotes I was provided in the context of Delta Virginis. This individual was tasked to delta the address shown, 126 Avenue of the Stars, here. There are specific locations that are known as delta points. I was given quoted first SFODD, which is the 1st Special Forces Operational Detachment Delta, also called Delta Force or the unit within JSOC, the Joint Special Operations Command. And so this individual of the appropriate association took Delta Virginis as a clue. Here is the star. Here's a map of New York that shows Times Square. Another star map of Virgo. You see variously named stars. This one's Delta. If the Virgo constellation is overlaying on that area I'd shown you, 268 Avenue of the Stars, there are significant points of overlap. You see this point here, that ridge bend there, delta point there, You have this point centered there with the structure around. Here I re-angled Google Earth to match the orientation of the overlay, so you can appreciate that there. So as you see beyond this crimp here, it's not really a perfect overlay, but there's enough to act as a clue. Another version there. And so then you can take this map of a different location in New York and surprisingly overlay it on top of Times Square, and you get some matching ridges there. This ridge is really a road, but it follows this coast quite perfectly. And the key here is the location of Times Square. You see it's approximately right there. Also the approximate location of Delta Virginis. If you overlay the Virgo constellation over this part of Manhattan, New York, you also will get this pattern where the stars are going along the coast. For further geography, this is East River, Roosevelt Island, and here we have Yorkville, Lenox Hill, Midtown East, the Empire State Building, Union Square located there, and here's Times Square. And once again, so here's the other way of drawing that constellation of Virgo. Here's Delta Virginis, here's Times Square, and you see these other stars are just going along the coast. So this individual did something like going on Zillow and entering 268 and stars, just going off this video here. And he then got the address that I showed you. When I do that myself, I get this other address in Pennsylvania. I do believe to get his result, you have to be pre-selected for the New York area. And so he used these clues I had laid out to you before to determine that Times Square was a special area of interest. At that time, Manhattan news articles were searched, and so he happened upon the Manhattan explosion story, which occurred near our keyword Times Square. And per his recollection, he didn't recall seeing the story. I scroll the Twitter feeds pretty much daily, and I too do not recall that story on April the 10th, which was a Sunday. And remember, it occurred around 6:50 p.m. Eastern Time. And so he considered this event to be the reality insert for this timeline, and this location, 268 Avenue of the Stars, as a potential area of interest with information encoded from another reality? Was there a specific message at this site placed only for a specific set of eyes? Now, I know some of these claims are sort of far out there, but I admit basic matching appears to hold up well. Again, this is Manhattan, and this is Brooklyn. There was a mass shooting in Brooklyn, New York, which I do recall, unlike the previous event. It happened on April 12th, 2022, merely 2 days after the Manhattan explosion. So if there are any viewers in the Northeast, do you recall there being 2 violent events in New York? Admittedly, the first event may not be as memorable as it was simply a manhole explosion without casualties, but it occurred at a very sensitive location, Times Square, and so it was newsworthy. I was told to draw a straight line through the Sunset Park subway station, straight north through Manhattan. It may lead to the Empire State Building as a landmark. Not sure. There's Washington Square Park as well. And so lastly, I was told that this particular location is considered the lock, and it was the origin of an operation where if it wasn't properly thwarted, there would have been a mass casualty event. So I take it instead of that, we got this. Could everything I just presented to you be simply smoke and mirrors and not by my own mind? I'll say it could be, but to the contrary, I'll say this particular source had expended quite a bit of effort sharing numerous pieces of verified information over a good period of time, makes no requests for compensation or named credit. There probably is much more to discern from this video. I am just one person offering one perspective here. So let me know what you think, and do share this video if you find it interesting. Till next time, peace. P.S. This is where you can find that creepy clown cartoon, Ghost Dance old cartoon, on this channel. Also, August 26th, as well as 2028 implications could be potentially suggested by this turning of the dial. Can't really say anything about the future until it becomes the past, so in case I ever have to refer to this video again. Goodbye.